Thank you, Mr. Villalobos. If you'll do the TV coverage announcement and call the roll.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to the Commission. Planning Commission hearings are televised live on County of Santa Barbara Television, CSB TV, Channel 20 at 9 a.m. in the South Coast, Lompoc, Santa Maria, San Ynez Valley, and Orchid areas. Rebroadcast of Planning Commission hearings are on Friday at 5 p.m. on CSB TV, Channel 20. Today's hearing will also be streamed live on the county's YouTube channel, as well as the county's CSB TV channel, and will be available for download in a day or two. And for the roll call, Commissioner Park.
Present.
Commissioner Cooney.
Here.
Commissioner Farini.
Here.
Commissioner Brown. Here. And Chair Blau.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Wilson, if you'll give us the projection report, the agenda status report.
Good morning, Chair Blau, members of the Commission. The agenda status report as of today, there are 4 items on the standard agenda. 2 of them are regularly scheduled items, and there are 2 appeal items that will be heard later today. Staff is prepared and ready to present all those items today for the Commission's decision and action. Moving to the projection report. Our next scheduled hearing is agendized or scheduled for October 3rd in Santa Maria. There's currently 1 item on that day that's been scheduled. The Commission has received a letter requesting that item be continued. So today, as we go through the projection report, the Commission may decide to either continue that item, hold that item on that day, or have a discussion about continuing it on that day, or if they would like to move that item to another day, the October 10th hearing date is available. Staff has worked any conflicts out on that day, so we could hold the hearing on October 10th in Santa Maria, or continue it to October 31st, which is the next regularly scheduled hearing date.
Ms. Black.
So, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, just one clarification. You actually can't continue the item today because it's not on the agenda, but you can either leave the projection report as is and we'll have the hearing next week, or you can cancel the hearing next week and give us direction as to when you would like the HOOP structures ordinance amendment scheduled for hearing. We do have enough time to schedule it, to notice it for the 10th. We would have to renotice. If you don't want to make a decision about it today and you want to consider it fully and discuss it fully, you could simply leave it on the 3rd and make a decision next week as to whether or not you're going to continue it. But that's a bit awkward because it's the only item on the agenda.
Well,
So
I think just to cut to the chase here, what I'd like to do is to move that to November the 7th and hold the hearing in Santa Maria as opposed to Santa Barbara. You've got a Kiama item on the agenda. It's the only thing on November 7th. So if we put the Hoop House and the Kiama on the 7th, I think that makes sense, and change the location to Santa Maria. Can we do that? I would move it to the 14th, but Commissioner Brown's not going to be here, and I think she would like to participate.
So, Mr. Chair, are you saying
I'm going to
that
entertain a motion to cancel the hearing for October 3rd, and I'm just requesting that we move the hearing. Commissioner Brown?
I just have a question because I don't sort of understand where we are. It's sort of unusual that the supervisor asks us to take this action. So once we finish, or if we finish, or when we finish, or complete our action on the HOOPS structure ordinance, it goes to the board, does it not?
Yes, Madam Chair, we had, or Mr. Chair and Commissioner Brown, we had it scheduled so that we would actually have it to the board at their November 6th hearing. So if the commission were to act either on the 3rd and make a recommendation on October 3rd or October 10th, I think we could expedite our review to the board. Obviously, if the hearing isn't until November, we wouldn't be able to do that, and it wouldn't go to the board probably until after the 1st of the year.
And they can do what they want with it. They could
That's correct.
undo what we did. They can change it. They can say, as we do with the winery ordinance, we're not doing it. What actions can they take?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Brown, the board could approve, modify, or disapprove the recommendation of your body. So you make a recommendation, and the board still has full discretion.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Wilson?
So Chair Blau, to answer your question, if the commission does take action to move it to the 7th, we can switch that hearing location to Santa Maria, but we would have to schedule to make sure that room was available and first before we do that. But that could be an option that we would do.
Okay, we have time this morning for you to figure that out, I'm sure. Mr. Cooney?
Just as to the date, is there a reason we can't just postpone it a week to the 10th?
I think there's going to be some information coming forth that's going to take a little bit of deliberation on our part. Commissioner Freeney?
Yeah, I think the 10th is rushing it. If the board has something they need to discuss, and then I was hoping then there would be time for that to go back to staff to come back to us. So I wouldn't want to rush it. I would rather give staff and our board the time necessary.
So what you're saying is they're going to have a discussion of the hoops before we make a decision? Is that what you're saying?
So my interpretation of the way I read the letter
Yeah.
was they were going to discuss it and work with staff. So I could be, maybe I'm misunderstanding
I
it.
don't think they have it on their agenda.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, it's very confusing.
Commissioner Park?
Well, has anyone made the motion yet?
I'm going to entertain a motion to cancel the October 3rd hearing, and we just need to come to the consensus as to when we want staff to bring it back to us.
So Mr. Chair, Mr. Villalobos has already checked on the 7th, and that is not available. The hearing room is not available.
Then in that case,
Then you would just do it here on the 7th.
you could do it here on the 7th, then that's fine.
I don't
Can we,
understand.
we've got, and you've already got, Coam is 1st District and 5th District. I'm not sure which one it is. So the 7th here would be okay. Mr. Park, would you agree do you agree with that?
Yes, that's fine with me. I think that's the prudent course.
Okay. So I think that's 3 of us so far. So I need a second, I need someone that so moved, did you say?
Second.
I guess it's my motion to cancel.
No, I'll make the motion and Commissioner Park is second.
Okay, great. So all those in favor?
Well,
Aye.
could we have discussion on the
Sure.
motion?
Go ahead.
So, just because in my time on the commission, this has not occurred before, where a member of the board has asked us to alter our proceedings for the benefit of the board. I'm not anxious that this become a precedent for board members doing this for whatever reason. We don't have the reasons, and we don't. I mean, maybe some of us have a better idea than others, but at this point, I'm in the dark as to what the benefit of sending this back to the board at this point is. While I won't oppose the motion, because those of you who know more are recommending it, I don't like the process. I think the Planning Commission needs to remain independent of the board. Staff has done a ton of work. We've had 3 hearings, I believe, on the hoop houses. We've hashed through a number of issues that we were prepared to finish up with next time. So it's not a good process, but let's see where it goes. I'm okay with the continuance.
Great. So, I think we'll have you read
Wait, hang on.
Commissioner Brown.
Well, I agree with Commissioner Cooney. I think it's funny how this project started, because it came from them. You know, they were aware of what we're doing, and I guess I think it really sets a precedent for our process, and I just don't really feel it's appropriate. We're very close. What we considered is minimal to bring it back, and I think that would be the most efficient way, and it's going to go to the board anyway. So I just won't be supporting the motion. Sorry.
Great. And so, Mr. Rilbos, if you read do the roll call vote, thank you.
Commissioner Park,
Aye.
Commissioner Cooney,
Aye.
Commissioner Farini,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown, and Chair Blau.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1.
Great, thank you. All right, is that the projection report? Are we done with that?
So Chair Blau, just to finish the projection report is the next, the October 31st, there are 3 items listed on that agenda. And then we have scheduled the return of the process improvement workshop on that date. And then we just take action for November 7th. There's the Koyama, it will be in Santa Barbara. So there's the Koyama Solar project, as well as the hoop structures will come back on the 7th. And after that, there isn't anything scheduled until or projected until December 5th. So
Okay.
that concludes the projection report.
Okay, great. That might be premature to cancel the November 14th meeting, but likely that might occur.
Okay.
Commissioner Brown.
Mr. Wilson, is there in your own projected agenda, is there not is the schedule pretty light such that you really don't anticipate anything coming by the end of the year for some of these meetings? I'm just trying to get a sense of, because it looks like we're not that busy. And
Chair Blau, Commissioner Brown, I think at this point it is a little premature to cancel any of those meetings. I think working with staff, there could be items that will show up in November on the projection report.
good, thank you.
Okay, that being the case, this is the time at the meeting where we allow for public comment for any item not on today's agenda. So, Commissioner Park, do we have any slips for that? No, we don't. I see no one rising. Next item would be the Planning Commissioner's informational reports. I'm not seeing any lights go on. So we have the minutes of September 12th to be approved. Any comments or corrections?
Pending
Commissioner Frady.
comments, I move for approval.
I'll second.
Great. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay. Ms. Black, we have the director's report.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission. Since your last meeting, the board met once on September 18th, and we didn't have any departmental items on that hearing, and we just had one minor issue with a time extension for a Coastal Resource Enhancement Fund grant. But other than that, nothing on September 8th and 18th, and don't think I have anything else to report today, except on a few upcoming board hearings. So on October 9th, the board will be hearing the Ag Employee Dwelling Unit Ordinance. And then on October 16th, the board will be considering the Gaviota Coast Plan and the suggested modifications from the Coastal Commission. So they may be taking final action on that plan one way or the other on the 16th. And for some reason, it seemed like there was something else on that day, but I can't remember what it is. And coastal resiliency will go to the board. It's projected to go to the board on November 6th. So that's what's kind of upcoming, just for your commission's information.
Thank you. Commissioner Cooney, did you have a question?
I didn't.
Okay. Light again. All right, I think we're ready for our first item on the standard agenda.